Live. I greatly appreciate you tuning into the Midday Market Report. We'll get through this in a very quick and fluent motion. We did have to spend quite some time together earlier, so I'm not sure how many people will be back already in such a short amount of time. But I did still want to do my due diligence with the Midday Market Report. Welcome in Prosperity Fund. I usually do touch Bitcoin and XRP quickly in the Midday Market Report. This is not a full out crypto update. When I do these, that's for 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or for my earlier updates. And the one I do in the morning, I certainly touched Bitcoin and XRP already, and there's not much change to that. So if you're watching, make sure to do your due diligence with that, and don't let my hard work go to waste. Trading with J-Ride, welcome in. Mark Caston, Taki, welcome. XRP to $30, 2024. Mitchell, welcome in. So Dow Jones is up 255 points. First, let me timestamp this. Good afternoon, 2:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the sign of the angels on this Friday, December 1st, 2023. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Big Ten Championship tomorrow, so we'll see what happens there. Going for our third straight Big Ten Championship. CJ2 Pilot, welcome in. Rob, good morning. David Kennedy, happy Friday to you. Got a good college football game tonight for anybody who's watching. Oregon against Washington is going to be fantastic. And then a smaller conference championship game against Liberty against New Mexico State University. So that should also be a good game. But we've got the Dow's up 254 points. No surprise if you've been a part of this community for any length of time. We're seeking this out end of year and possibly just a breakout. We've talked about this. I feel like it's been forever, but now it's finally coming to that level. If we can get a solid bounce off of this broadening wedge, I mean, you're looking at a massive breakout. You could come up to that 41,915. I mean, we're getting close. Did we break the all-time highs in the Dow? Not yet. We're close. We need to get above, not yet, 36,986. And you can break an all-time high in the Dow. And then you're in discovery. And that looks like it's destined to go up to around that 41,000 if they do what they look like they're going to in an election year. So things are looking upward and outward. DXY is at 103 spot 13, down another 38 cents, 0.37%. Did not like what Jerome Powell was saying when he was speaking. And it further allowed this death cross to continue on in the daily. See if we end up with any kind of inverted hammer candles or anything like that have any kind of success. We have a reversal candle here already that invalidated this prior candle, it looks like. And right now we are down to the lowest points in the session right now for the DXY. So that is not a good sign for the DXY going into the weekend. And this would invalidate that short-term bullish momentum there. And look at the daily. We have that dot cross that we were unable to finish at or above 104 spot 10. Not even close so far. This looks like we're going to have a big continuation down. The closer we get to 24, and we're as close as we can get now being in December. So, we're getting down to a slippery slope, ladies and gentlemen. I can't say that it's going to be pretty. I can't say that it's going to be easy for everybody. But I can say, if you've been a part of this community for any length of time, this is exactly what we've been preparing for 3 years almost. U.S. 10 years down 2.66%. I mean, is anybody surprised it's down another 12 basis points? That's in here. Honestly, I've had these projections out for so long. A lot of people say, how could we possibly stay ahead of the market if we can't understand the market? I do more than crypto here. We're so far ahead of this, it would make your head blow up if you weren't part of it. That's how I've managed to stay outside of the norm for the last roughly 7 years, especially the last post-pandemic. I've been able to kind of do my own thing. I taught myself how to be self-sufficient in that you have to find a way to earn money as well. Well, the easiest thing to me was to work against the trading bots. Like, look at how easy this is. Once you predict where it's got to go, look, I mean, it's kind of hard to ignore the fact that everything's happening if you understand the whole economical environment. So if the DXY is coming down and they drop the 10-year government bonds, because remember, the government, if they're buying into it, the price comes down. The more money pumping into it, the lower the interest rates. And then once it dries up, this will raise up exponentially. But we're going into an election year, so we have to consider all of this. So What I was saying with this is I've got it rounded out and then it goes into like February. By the time it ever gets back around, you're back to March. And maybe you come back up here by end of year, maybe, but I could see it further pulling out. Could we see it come down farther? I don't know. Because they're only going to have so much money, and I think we're going to have a parabolic spike, and eventually we're going to go back to all the Volcker days, and we're going to be seeing 14, 15, 17% interest, and it's not going to be pretty, and it's going to be the whole bank balance scenario, but that's for another day. U.S. crude oil down $1.90 or $1.44 per barrel, or 1.9% when priced in U.S. dollars. WTI crude $74.11. They wanted that year-end target at $70, so we're not shocked. We've still got it down here. 77 was just a pivot point we had to respect. And like I always say, when the pivot point runs that area beautifully and uses that support resistance, you know you're on the right track. And now it's a matter of, do we hold $70? Because eventually this is going to have to break out. OPEC is cutting production, like export, or well, they have less, but everybody's claiming they're going to do the exact same thing, yada, yada, yada. Saudi Arabia already said they're importing or exporting less, keeping more imports. And that's, I believe, to get ready for the BRICS agreement here, when the Saudis are going to allow you to price your oil not in U.S. dollars starting January 2nd, if I go by the 24-hour grace period on the 1st. I don't know if that's something I made up, the grace period, or if that's something that I read, but it very well could be made up, the grace period. Death cross here with the gold and silver ratio. We know eventually this is going to break down hard. And in times when it's a real rally with gold, silver always runs harder because it catches up. And right now the gold-silver ratio looks like it's getting ready to drop out the floor if it gets its way. Death cross here almost complete in the daily. If we lose 79.6, I mean, the technical target on this massive breakdown, because we've been on, this isn't just something that started last year, 5 years ago. Where we're measuring this from, this goes all the way back to 1997. Good year, by the way. Last time Michigan won a national championship in football. True story. But yeah. So I'm looking at different bottoms if we break. If we break this bottom right here at 62.31, that's a big, big indicator that this is going all the way down to 42. It doesn't even need to go down there, but that's the last rotational low. Or I mean, the lower high, or higher lows, whatever you want to call it. But if this is a new, say we go low, we don't break a high here now, then we come down, you would be like, oh, we came here, went there, but now all of a sudden we're back. This consolidatory, low, low. But now does this become a new high in this level? That's what I want to see. Does this come down now? Like, is this going to end up being, we were here, came down, and now is this the last consolidation here at this level after if it breaks down and then it starts consolidating down? That's what I want to see. It's going to be very interesting with the gold-silver ratio. I'm very excited for this time in history. Gold 2070. It made a historical move. In 1997, Brian Greasy led us to the national championship. Drew Henson was there the next year, and Tom Brady, obviously, you know. But no, Brian Greasy led us to that championship, believe it or not. Had a nice career in the NFL as well. But gold, quadruple top here. We're looking to get into all-time highs at 2080. What is it? 2082 roughly would break all-time highs. 2000. Well, it's right above there. 2083. So if we can get up there, we're pushing it though. We're at 2070. Or right around 2070. It's pretty close. We're up about $33 on the day, or 1.66%. But we had a record. We had our first monthly candle close over $2,000 in the history of gold. So gold is making massive, massive moves. Every time it had a shot, the wick would pull back down, as you can see. Not this time. This looks like very bullish for gold, and coming on a V-shaped recovery here as well. Gold doesn't traditionally have V-shaped recoveries that strong. It usually has rounding of the bottom events. So there's a lot of institutional buyers, not just institution, but country buyers. A lot of countries are looking to buy gold and are buying gold. So gold's doing pretty good. I mean, you could expect maybe a small pullback. Every time it runs up, we already see it. Nice inverted hammer there. It looks like it's forming. 4 hourly looks like it's bouncing off. We might not have much of a reversal here. Nah, it needs to bounce to another level, it looks like. Maybe we'll get the bounce back after we break the all-time highs, and maybe we'll consolidate it. The best case scenario would be that it doesn't even need this uptrend. It could go up here and start bouncing off 2100. But we'll see what happens. Exciting times indeed in the gold market. Almost done here, folks. I promise. I'm not going to keep you here forever. Because, you know, we were just here forever. B2 gold up $3.41. Another 3 cents or 0.89%. Up almost 14% from where we bought in at $2.98. Let me get rid of this because nobody's going to understand if they weren't here when I did it. But this is having, it's on a trajectory for around that $4 mark. If it continues, we have had a golden cross in the 2 hour, the 3 hour. I'm pretty sure the 4 hour now, or close to. Yep, 4 hour, we're about to have the golden cross as well. So this is looking very bullish. It's exactly why we bought at 298 instead of trying to wait for 240, because when it showed the inverted head and shoulders, we had no choice. And now it looks like it could be getting ready to move up to that $4 area. If it does and it breaks out of there, I mean, this is right now, we've talked about it. Gold is within a few dollars right now. About 18 bucks roughly, 17 bucks of an all-time high. B2 gold, on the other hand, is still 121% from all-time highs right now. It's still 121% to get back to $7.55. $7.55. As gold is already nearing an all-time high within a few dollars. And silver production for B2 gold's never been higher. They acquired a new mine and it's rich in silver. It's the record production of silver this year. Perfect time as it constitutes with what's going on with silver bullion. It's about to explode. As gold's nearing an all-time high by give or take $16, $17. Silver is still 50% from its all-time highs, just over 50 bucks. So consider all of this. Consider all this. At some point, silver is going to have to catch up and the gold-silver ratio is going to come down. Right now, it's on its way to a technical move at $28.84, and it looks like we're just building strength day by day. So as we continue to let this stuff play out, massive descending channel formed, or I guess you could call it a descending wedge, some people would call it, but I like to keep it basic. It's starting to break out here. We're going to have some moves. And then somebody asked about XRP and Bitcoin. I mean, I'm going to fly through this because I feel like you should do my due diligence by watching my morning update as well. Because I put a lot of stuff. But XRP right now, daily, looking like a long leg doji, trying to invalidate the bearish thesis. This is the second time it's trying. We're staying above that 606, which is a great sign. Having a daily close above 608 shows a little more strength, but we don't want to get caught up and have a reversal here with this long leg doji. So we have to make sure that we're closing above 606 or 608 right now on these 4 hourlies. We want to close over 608. The next one still in the same range, and then the daily we must make sure we start closing over. We can't afford to get under this 20-day. We've got to start closing over 615 area. We've got to start invalidating the structure and start moving back up, because you could have a volatile swing to the upside. And with Bitcoin, we targeted this. What has to happen here, we have to get on top of and hold 38,710 as we are in a massive broadening wedge, much larger than what we thought, because it's broke back up to the top of what can now be constructed as a much bigger broadening wedge. So before it was just this inside, now we've worked our way out. So that used to be the initial broadening wedge, but now you've worked your way into a much larger one here. So it needs to get over 38,710 and hold. Right now, though, it looks like we could be putting in an inverted hammer, a nice one indeed for Bitcoin. And if that's the case, we could have a nice swing to the upside. We just don't want to start swinging back to the downside. Right now, though, if you close at 38,710, it would be huge. If it closes over 38,710 and it bounces off of that, you could have a nice spike up to just over 42,000. So it could be a nice rally at the end of the year, as we've been talking, but we're still in a very, very weird spot here. Be very careful and pay attention to the charts. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. If you got anything out of this, please make sure to hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel. Join the over 19,000 people that are subscribed. If you don't want to do any of that, you can always send a YouTube Super Chat or join Tom's Army. Other than that, I'm out. Thank you for watching the Midday Market Report. I'll catch you tonight at 6:30.